So today we will understand the secret that why top companies, not only top companies, I can tell you, every other organizations are seeking in their search for talent of generative AI engineers. But why? What is the greatness in that? So today I will show you how you can unlock the doors to your dream job, whether if it is of the data scientist designation or if it is into the generative AI. Altogether, it's more matter of the high standard technology. But before we dive in, so let's take a moment to understand what exactly the companies are actually looking for in a generative AI engineer. So I can tell you, some today not only one organization or something like that, whether Google or Microsoft, not only like that, every other organization. When I say every other organization, hey, hi Anil. That's Thank you so much for providing the details. Yeah. So when I say every other organization, even from the startups to the topmost MNCs, even from the startups to the Fortune 500 companies, every way generative AI is became a part of their company. Why? Because you all know when the chat GPT was introduced into the market, altogether the world take a turn into the industry standards, right? It started altogether in November 2022, where the creativity of the textual data was completely different. Before the chat GPT, whatever we want to understand, what we used to do, we used to go to the Google and we used to search for something and we used to get the solution for that. But after introducing this chat GPT, what we guys are doing? We are simply opening the chat GPT and raising the queries, right? So how many of you are using chat GPT in your day-to-day activities? How many of you are using it? Shrikant, yes. So just imagine as because the chat GPT is able to answer every query, whatever you guys are using, whether you are coming from the full stack developer or you are coming from the real estate market or you are coming from the doctor, whatever the department that you are in, everybody is using this chat GPT. Just imagine. So how that model or how the chat GPT is able to answer. So that is exactly what a companies are looking for. The why you guys are so obsessed with this chat GPT things and all, because it is capable enough to do everything for your work around, and it is your reducing your burden, and it is your increase your productivity to work to get the work done. That's where exactly the companies are also looking. Companies wants the techies who all are able to increase the productivity and reduce the time of work around. That is what exactly a generative AI engineer will do. So then what he is going to do? Okay, you said that generative AI can do all these things, right? So but what he is doing? Yeah. So the companies want the individuals who possess the unique blend of creativity, innovation, problem solving skills, and many more. In simple words, I can tell you, they are seeking the generative AI engineers who can push the boundaries and challenge the status quo and bring the fresh perspective to the table. Like, however, you guys are working with the chat GPT, every company want their own GPT into their company. So now you guys can see, look at all these companies. It's not only one. Take a look of all these companies and the top MNCs and all this. All these companies are like, Infosys, TCS, Wipro, Cognizant, IBM, HCL, whatever it is. These organizations are forefront of the innovation and constantly pushing the boundaries of what is possible with the generative AI. And guess what? They need talented individuals into their teams and be a part of the revolution of the future. Because right now, as we as an individual, we are using the chat GPT because we identified that the chat GPT can do anything to increase the productivity. That's what the every other organization is expecting. By using the individual talents, they want to increase their return of investment and increase the productivity. So that's what exactly we are going to understand the technology behind the scenes. So are you ready to dive into this generative AI? Shall we get into the technical understanding? Not so much technical, do not worry. As I mentioned, it is a just demo. So I know that we are having so many diverse background of people are here. Don't worry, when I say, are you ready? I'm not taking you to the technical terms now, but I will explain you what exactly the main difference in all these things. Okay. So great. Thank you so much for confirming. All right. So, yeah, that's super cool to hear. And so at the end, what is the goal? What do you want? Placing yourself into your dream job with generative AI with a good package. That is what everyone is looking for, right? So demand for the skilled generative AI in various industries. As I mentioned, so whether you are a fresher or you are an experienced candidate, it is all about upgrading yourself. And with that, to be frank, I can tell you in my earlier stages of my career, I was a full stack developer. Then later, I worked on the data science. I completely moved into the data science, and right now I'm in the generative AI. Okay, so because why there is an advancement in the career because of the potential growth. So I can tell you one thing: everyone can work on any kind of technology. Right now, the market is looking towards the generative AI kind of candidates because there are very less people in the market right at this moment. Why? Because as I mentioned, Chat GPT is all together started in 2022 of the November, and everybody is exploring. Companies are trying to understand how can we make most of it by using the approaches. How can we get the best returns of utilization by using this particular chat GPT things and all? Means automatically, as because it is very latest in the market, companies are still working on the POCs as well as companies are still exploring. So as you all know, ChatGPT is one AI tool. So how many of you are familiar with the Gemini? How many of you are familiar with the Gemini? That's okay. Just let me know if yes or no. That's enough. See, superb. You all know. Most of you are already familiar with this. So why this? Okay, I hope you guys can see my screen, right? So when I say, oh, is my screen visible? Gemini window. Yeah. So this is also one of the AI tool. If you are not familiar with this, let me tell you a bit about it. It's so OpenAI ChatGPT is something was introduced by the OpenAI guys. Okay. So when they started, everybody's look was on into the chat GPT. Just imagine within a week of time, they reached 1 million subscribers, 1 million users. Now you can understand the potential of the chat GPT. It is not only working with the textual data. If you guys can see this, the video, whatever on the screen, this video is generated by the AI. Now you guys can understand the advancements into the technology. Prior to that, what we used to do in order to build a video, how much time you guys need to consider? At least you will have to capture the images or you will have to work with the video generation and all these things. But now you guys can see this is all together designed by the AI just by providing a simple prompt as an input. Now you guys can see this video. This video is not the original true video. This is also a AI generated video. If you guys can see, this is the prompt to the model. A stylish woman walks down a Tokyo street filled with warm, glowing neon and animated city scenes. And she wears a black leather jacket, a long a red dress, and black boots, and carries a handbag. See, now you guys can understand how AI is changing the technology. Do you guys just imagine? So, if you are looking into it for the first time, if I'm not telling that it is an AI created video, do you guys even believe that? Now you guys can see these all videos are generated by AI only. That's the amazing work actually. That's the amazing work AI is doing. So that is where companies wants to see all these videos. Companies wants to make best out of it. Whether you are a tech stack person or who is working in the coding part, or you are a person who is a good artist, or let's say you are a content writer, whatever the field that you are coming in. Generative AI is increasing the productivity with all the possible ways, whether if it is of the coding, whether if it is of the generating of the images, or if it is of creating innovative ideas or different research paths, whatever the technology it is. See, all these videos are generated by the generative AI only. So that is just a simple a glimpse of what exactly the generative AI is doing and why the people are so much into this particular thing. Okay. So if I can tell you this now, as because ChatGPT is able to perform all these tasks, every other topmost industries are trying their best to get the things done actually. So that's when Gemini is from the Google started working on this. Within some fraction of months, when ChatGPT was introduced, after within span of a month, Gemini started their own GPT. This is what the Gemini AI. So even you can go and ask the queries also, like whatever you guys are asking in the chat GPT. Let's say I want to ask what is Python. Okay, so again it will start explaining the thing, same like however chat GPT is doing. But the only thing I can tell you, I will ask you one question for this. So what is the model that you are using? It may not able to answer because there are some restrictions or something like that. If I can ask this query, now you guys can see it is telling, wow, you are using Gemini 1 Pro. It is telling you are using. My question was on which model you were built. Let me ask the other way around. Let's see whether if it is able to answer it or not. No, it is not telling. Generally, they will not reveal such kind of things, okay? But if you can go to Chat GPT and if you can ask, what is the model you are using? See, I am based on the OpenAI's GPT-4 architecture. That's correct. Okay. So now, likewise, whatever we are seeing as an open AI API, or whether if it is of the Gemini Pro, there are n number of AI tools in the market. There is a Claude.ai. This is also one of the AI tool where you can utilize for your workarounds. So initially they will provide some free of cost utilization, but later they will ask you to provide the money for that. But what I can suggest is if you guys are already using the chat GPT, that's enough to increase your productivity. But all these things, okay, we identified everything is working super cool. And just a moment, sorry. Everything is working as per the expectation. That is super cool. But what is the behind the scenes? Okay, whether if it is of the Gemini or whether if it is of the chat GPT. So what is the behind the scenes? So that's where generative AI comes into the picture. Again, you might be wondered. So what is the basics of the generative AI? Okay, so if you are familiar with how a data science model will work, then it is enough to understand. Okay, so in yesterday class, those who were there, I provided one example. Okay, let me give you a high level glimpse of how the generative AI and data science differs basically. Okay, so it just information about the data science, guys. So if you are already familiar with what is artificial intelligence, that's super cool. But I will explain to the everyone one more time so that you guys cannot get confused what is data science and what is the AI and also the generative AI. Okay. Data science is nothing but it is a field of artificial intelligence where you are feeding the data to the model. Okay, let's say this is the model and you are feeding this data to the model so that the model will start understanding whatever you are having in this data. The model will try to recognize and understand, and based on the next things, it will start generating the answers. Let's say for example, okay, so you can imagine that it as a Python developer. Okay, let's say you are a Python developer, let's say. So you are a model. Now imagine you are being a Python developer, you are a model, let's say for example. So, what do you know about the Python is nothing but the data. So, if I am coming and asking you the queries related to the Python, hey, can you please tell me what is the syntax of Python? You may able to answer because you got trained on this Python Python programming language. Okay. And even after some time, I may come and ask you, hey, can you please create a function in Python? Again, you may start answering the query. But what if I am coming and asking you, explain, sorry, wait a moment, explain how to create a function in Java. If I'm asking this query, sometimes if you are familiar with this, you may able to answer. But what if you are not able, if you are not familiar with the Java programming language? You can simply come and tell, hey, I got trained only on the Python programming language. In case if you can ask me the queries related to the Python, I am able to answer. But you are asking me about the Java where I did not get trained, so I cannot answer. That is what you will reply me, right? So that is what exactly happens when you are working with the data science models. Whatever the data that you are feeding to the model will start understanding the things, and based on the understanding of the data, whatever the queries that you are going to ask, the model will answer simply. That is what exactly happens with the data science models. In a simple words, I can tell you, consider it as a baby, small baby, whatever the data that you are feeding. So yesterday I was giving you guys one example. Like, let's consider it as a small 4 years or 3 years old little girl. Okay. She taught by her mom only some things like, what is your name? And then, what is your age? And what is your mom name? Let's say and what is your dad name? Okay. This 3 years old baby girl, her mama taught all these things. In case if somebody is coming and asking you, you should tell me the answers like, my name is Ira and I am 3 years old, let's say, and also my mom name is Sanya, let's say for example, and also my dad name is some XYZ, like this, let's say for example. Okay. She got trained on this particular thing. So when someone comes in and asks the query, the baby girl is able to answer these things because she got trained on this particular things. If you are asking the queries beyond these, let's say for example, where do you stay, or what is your date of birth, if somebody comes in and asking such kind of new queries, what this girl will do, as because she was not trained on those new topics, where do you stay and what is your date of birth, she is not able to answer because she knows only these things because her mama taught her only these things, right? So she can sometimes tell you, hey, I really don't know what is the answer for that query, or she will repeat the answers whatever we are giving, which are a lot of nonsensical, right? So that's what exactly a traditional data science model also will do. Whatever you can now understand this 3 years old girl as a data science model. Whatever the data that you are feeding to the model, the baby girl will start understanding that and also can answer the queries. In case if you are asking the queries beyond this, the girl will simply tell you, I don't know. That is what exactly a data science model will do. But coming to the generative AI, it is altogether a different scenario. Right now, whatever the data that we fed to the model, here also we fed the data to the model. But here, now you can imagine 175 billions of parameters. When I say parameters, it is nothing but the data, words, or something like that. All this information, entire Wikipedia data was trained Okay, entire Wikipedia data was trained to the large language model. This generative AI is also called as the large language model. Why we are calling it as a large language model? Because it was trained on the huge amount of the entire Wikipedia data. That's when you are asking a queries, whether you are asking what is Python or write code to add two numbers, or you may go and ask, like, tell me a joke. Whatever the queries that you are asking, model will never say no. All the time it will answer. Or else you can say, tell me a sad story. Whatever the query it is, all, or create a new image, whatever the query that you're asking, it will start providing the answer. Means what exactly is happening here? What, as because the model was trained on the huge amount of the data, that model is able to answer all your queries without telling that, hey, I cannot answer, because the trained data was huge. So that's when whatever the queries that you're asking, ChatGPT is able to answer. Where the traditional data science models were not able to answer, just because these were trained only on the limited amount of the data. That is where the main difference comes in. Is it clear, or any doubts? The difference between the data science as well as the generative AI. Great, great. What about the remaining all? Any queries in this? You can let me know. I will help you. Great. Thank you so much for confirming. It's just an example, guys. Whatever I have shown you is just an example, like whatever we guys are, going to understand. This kind of models are something that we are going to work on when you are working as a generative AI. So right now, as because the model was trained on this a huge amount of the data, the model was able to answer. But what if I'm opening my chat GPT and I'm asking, what is the employee count of finance department? If I'm asking this query, what this chat GPT will do to provide it is telling, I would need more content. Okay, let's say, for example, in my XYZ company, let's say, I'm asking wantedly to determine the employee count of the finance department in your XYZ company. You would typically need to refer internal company records. So means it is not able to answer your company queries. It is able to answer the Wikipedia data. It is not able to answer your company data. So that's where exactly the role of generative AI engineer comes into the picture. So what this generative AI engineer will do is, he will take his company data as per the company standards. Let's say, for example, company sensitive data. He will take this data. The company will provide the data. Now, his duty is to feed the data to the large language model or the chat GPT. Chat GPT is also known as a large language model, I said, right? So, this data is fed to the large language model along with this 175 billions of the parameter, so that the model will start learning your company internal data also. So after that, whenever you are going and asking a query, hey, what is the employee count for this? Okay, so I said you are feeding your company sensitive data to the large language model, I said, right? So let's say, for example, I am having a employee data, let's say, for example, okay. So employee data. Let's say I'm having this employee data. Now I want to ask, what is the salary of a senior data scientist or senior, or else let's say generative AI engineer. Let's say if I'm asking this query, the model will not with the name of let's say Anya. Okay, whose name is Anya. Otherwise, what I will do is, what is the salary of Anya? her designation is generative AI engineer. Let's say I'm asking the same query to the chat GPT. So what it will tell? The salary of the generative AI, it is telling it can vary slightly based on the factors such as. So it is not sure about the company, right? So it is not sure about my data, obviously. So in this situation, so what I'm doing is I am asking this chat GPT, please create an employee table and add names of employees from India. I'm explicitly mentioning one. Okay, now add the column names as employee name, department. Department should include, um, let's say, for example, data science, generative AI, Python, excuse me, sorry, machine learning. I'm just mentioning all this. Okay. Now I'm telling employee salary, and also I'm telling years of experience. Okay. So just let's consider this data and also take location. Okay. I'm asking this query. I'm explicitly telling, please provide at least 10 rows. Okay. Let's see what the chat GPT is going to generate here. Can you all see it started generating the solution for me? As because I explicitly answer, so India, it started providing the names of the employees in the Indian names as well as locations and just like this. Now, let's say prior to that, I'm going to take this Priya Singh and I am taking it in a new chat window. Let's say, for example, I'm going to take it in a new chat window. I don't know whether it is able to. Now, if I can feed this data to the model, let's say, for example, let's just imagine I fed this company sensitive data to the model. Now, if I can go and ask, can you tell me, let's say I provided this data to the model. Okay. Understand this data. Otherwise, what I'll tell you is what is the salary of Priya, who is a Python developer. Okay, if I'm asking this query, the model is not able to answer clearly. It will provide some nonsensical answers at the same time. But now I am feeding this data to the model, telling that this is my uh, company data. You can understand this and now help me. What is the salary of Priya? Ignore my spelling mistakes. I need one line answer. I don't want this much of story. I'm simply telling this. Can you all see this? Now it is able to generate the answer. How it is generating the answer? Previously it was giving so much of nonsense information, like it is considering, assuming the things, and also it is generating the answer. But after I provided this information to the model is analyzing the things and generating me the answer. That is what exactly it is. As because it is very simple, we are providing the data to the model so that the model is understanding and generating the information. But in real term scenarios, it is not going to be as easy as like this, whatever we are seeing on the screen. In order to feed the data to the model, you will have to work on the things. As a generative AI engineer, it's your duty to make the model to understand and generate the workarounds and whatever the queries the internal company holders are raising, the model should be able to answer without having any kind of hallucinations. When I say hallucination, hallucination is nothing but, so here if you guys can see, when I was asking this query, the model is assuming some random person name. Though it was not clear about the answer, it was assuming something and also generating the answer. this kind of information is not something we are looking for. We are looking for exact perfect answer. So that's where the companies want the model to perform as per the expectation without having any kind of hallucinations. So that's when we supposed to feed our company data to the model so that the model will understand. Along with this 175 billions of the parameter, the model will get trained and exposed to this, and then it will start generating the answers for whatever the queries that you are asking. That is what exactly a generative AI engineer do. So if you're wondering, hey, how can I make use of, how can I build this kind of model? I know this is something which was trained on a huge amount of the data, and what is the possibility? Okay, so let me tell you one thing, guys. So now I am going to build a simple generative AI large language model within seconds. Okay, I will show you how it is going to work. I know it is not that okay, we are doing it for the first time, but why are we in a hurry? Is this really going to happen? But I will show you something. So, as I mentioned, every other organization is looking for the candidates to build their own GPTs, I said. So, what this Open AI is that it is a company who introduced Chat GPT, right? So now what I am going to do is I am going to make use of the API key for this. They are providing the API key basically. So you no need to do it now at this moment, as because I just want to explain you how it is going to work, not to get into the confusion mode. I thought of showing it to you. Okay. So if you guys can see, this is a playground area where you can play with it. It works exactly same like a Chat GPT. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I will try to understand or build a textual application same exactly like ChatGPT now. I will show you. Okay. So I'm going to make use of the API key. I'm already holding the API key, guys. I'm simply making use of it. See, I don't want to confuse you, but I'm just telling I can build my own board within some minutes. So now I know this will work for the chat GPT creation. So I am copying this code and I am going to my what to say, this is Google Colab. I will explain you all these things later. If I can paste this here, I did not write anything, guys. I am just getting it from this particular website, whatever the Open AI guys has provided. Okay, I'm just taking this query here, and also let me go and execute this. I will get the error message because the API key client option must be set either by passing the API key or something like that. I'm copying this, and also I am providing it to the Chat GPT, telling that I'm getting the this kind of error. Oh, wait a moment. It is still at the Priya only. Wait a moment. I'm getting this error. So it will start telling you will have to provide your API key. If you are not going to provide your API key, you may get the error message. So let's do the same. See, I'm going to add the API key for my code. So I'm already having this. So simply what I'm doing is I am adding the API key here. So if you're wondering how did you generate API key and all, that's okay. As I mentioned, I will explain maybe in the later classes. I just simply provided the API key here. And the same thing, whatever I have provided here, the same thing, the GPT 3.5 turbo messages, temperature and all these things. Now let me try to execute the same. Oh, wait a moment. Now, I said it will work exactly same like a chat GPT, I said, right? Now I am going to ask, what is the Python? What is Python, let's say? Can you all see? It started telling Python is programming. Let me do one thing. Okay, now you guys can see my limit got crossed. I'm now getting into the GPT 3.5 Turbo. Now, so far, whatever I used is GPT 4 basically. So now I'm going back here as because I explicitly trained my model telling that whatever the queries I'm asking, I want the answer in one word answer. So that's where I'm getting the answers like this. In case if I'm going to ask generative AI, the expectation is that it should provide me the one word answer. Can you all see this? Creativity. Now I'm going and asking data science. See, analyst. As because if you guys can see, I trained my model telling that you are a helpful assistant. I want you to help me with only one word answers for my queries. This is where the model started telling the answers only within the one word. You can even change the information as per your convenience. If you are feeling that, hey, I am new to Python, I am really not good at Python. How can I do that? The coding part, you no need to worry at all. There are n number of options you can get from, and there are n number of options you can learn from. There are so many AI tools which all are in the market which can assist you to build the code from the scratch. So now you guys can see our first AI model or generative AI model is ready already. Now we are getting the output. Are you guys understanding how did I do that? I'm not going to go in depth into the coding, but I just wanted to tell you that do not worry if you are not a programmer, because we are having n number of sources to learn all these factors. It's just a matter of understanding of the technical aspects. If you understand how the model is going to work on the things, and then coding part everyone can do. Even if you are not sure how the coding is going to work, you can make use of the code also. You can go and ask, can you help me with functional code? I'm asking. If I can ask this query, the model will start generating the code. Can you see? First of all, it is telling pip install OpenAI, then provide the API key and make use of the model. That is what exactly it is doing. Now you can go and copy this, and also you can paste it here. Any which way my model is actually already working, I can simply provide it here, and it is telling me to make use of the API key. I can take the API key from here. I mean, maybe in the upcoming classes, I will explain how did I do all these things and all. But I'm just giving you the just heads up. Okay. See, now I'm going to ask this query. It is telling no, you tried the open AI completion, but there is no longer supported. See, if you're facing such kind of issues, you can simply copy these error messages, and also even you can provide it in the chat window. So chat GPT will be able to answer it. You no need to worry about the coding part also. So that's where I am telling, just first try to understand the concepts, and then later on, if you understand the technical aspects of the model, you will be able to work on the code at any cost. There are n number of sources that you are having. See, we are having Gemini, we are having the Chat GPT, even you are having the Microsoft Copilot also. So you no need to worry about the coding part. And any which way, in our training session, we are going to teach everything from the scratch, including the Python as well. Okay, so now you guys can come up with any kind of questions. Any questions so far, whatever we have understood. You can raise your queries now. I know the coding part must be feeling so much of clumsy. Yeah, I'm new to it. I'm not understanding. That's okay. I can understand. But I'm just giving you the information, how quick we can start working on it, how easy it is to understand. So that's where I just provided you the information. Do not consider about the coding part at this moment. I will guide you guys through step by step so that you guys can reach here. That is what I can give you the assurance about our training classes. And one more thing I wanted to tell you, in our training sessions, especially for whatever I'm going to train, it is not going to be the one way around. You must be interacting, and you must be having the coding technical hands-on experience. And also you are going to understand everything from the scratch. Okay. Our main session will be filled with hands-on learning experience into the real world examples. Okay, so I believe always the power lies in the practical experimentation only. Without having the practical expertise, you will not get and you will not get any information or gain knowledge into the this particular thing. So any doubts, you can let me know. And one more thing I want to share with you guys, we are going to learn all these concepts. As because I can see the diverse people are joining with us, we are going to start everything from the scratch. We are going to provide the Python programming language and whatever the requirement we are having for generative AI, like machine learning, deep learning, NLP, and also different generative AI model. What is a large language model, transformers, how the prompt engineering will work. So prompt engineering is one technique that is one of the essential part of the generative AI. We are going to learn how effectively we can work with the prompt engineering to get the best out of it. Those all are the things that we are going to learn. And different word embeddings and chunk metrics, these all are, this is the curriculum, guys, basically. Okay, we are going to learn all these concepts in the practical live classes. Any doubts from anyone, you can unmute yourself and also you can raise your queries. Is data science part of the prompt engineering? So prompt engineering is part of generative AI, Ravi. Okay, generative AI is built on top of data science. Okay. Have any certificate for this, and what valid across large scale companies? Yes, you will get the valid certificate, Janet, from our academy. So it is valid for every other organization, from the startups to the top notch MNCs everywhere. Okay, so Pavan, in order to get into the generative AI field, Python programming language is must. Okay, so as I mentioned, we are going to train everything from the scratch. We are teaching from the Python and the machine learning concepts required for the generative AI, and also the NLP techniques required for the generative AI. All these things I'm going to explain. Okay, all right. So any more doubts from anyone? Guys, that's okay. You can unmute yourself and speak out. I will explain.
Hey, hi, Madhu. Uh, this is Zenith.
Hi.
I would like to know a few details. Like, I work as a senior associate in one of the Bombay-based company, and
Uh-huh.
which mainly works on SQL, and hope you know that.
Yeah.
So I'm planning for a switch on I mean, I just came through about the prompt engineering and also generative AI.
Mm-hmm.
So I have did some a basic course which is offered through our company through Coursera, which is not a much bigger, but just a basics on that. And I
Uh-huh.
understand this completely works on the Python, but
Mm-hmm.
I was front-end developer before an SQL developer. So front-end is not my cup of tea. So it was too much stress for me. So I've been moved from there and I've moved to SQL. Now I'm planning for this generative AI. So will this Python also put that pressure on me? Like
No.
how it, I worked on JavaScript and React.
Yeah, I understand. As a front-end developer, it's all about HTML, CSS, and also the
Mhm.
JavaScript, right? So, okay, so let me tell you one thing here so that you will have a clear understanding of the Python. So, as you know, in case if we wants to work with the, especially for the JavaScript kind of languages, first of all, we need to build the, HTML, CSS page or something like that. So, if you can see the Python, suppose let's say for example, I hope you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The Google Colab. So what do you do in case if you want to perform the addition of two numbers? You may have to write some amount of the code for this, right? So here it is very simple. You can simply say A plus B, or you can simply tell the numbers directly. You don't need to, provide the so much of coding part. Can you see? And it is very basic English. If I want to say hello generative AI, it is not like the other things. It is just like a basic English. One thing I can guarantee you, that this is the most easiest programming language in the IT tech industry. Python is the most easiest programming language. And if I want to create a function, I can simply tell you adding. If I'm giving a comma b, and I'm simply telling, this is like normal English. Okay. So as I mentioned, I want to perform the addition of two numbers. I'm simply giving C is equal to A plus B. Return C. That's it. You're done. It is seem like, whatever the English that we are speaking, it's a general English. It is never be like, you're so much coding like Java, .NET, JavaScript, and all these things, Angular, React, whatever it is. Nothing to do with. And the good part with this is that whatever the UI that you are building as a UI front end developer, here the AI tool is having its own UI also, the Streamlit UI. You no need to write even a single line of code. You just have to import Streamlit. That's it. You can build the UI entire end-to-end application also. These all are the things I'm going to explain in the anyways in the main sessions. But yeah, that's the beauty of Python.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, thanks, Madhu. But there are two more questions if I can take it with you.
Mm-hmm.
The first one would be like, is the generative AI, I heard that it has two types. One is only the prompt engineering and the other one is LLM. So
Right.
what are the chances of jobs if I only go for the prompt engineering and if I go with complete set of generative AI?
Okay. So let me tell you. So prompt engineering is something everybody can do it. Though you may get the jobs in India, especially, you are not getting into prompt engineer alone. For sure, I can tell you, if that would be the case, it must not be the IT company. I mean to say, maybe the IT company, but not as much as package that whatever you will get it for the LLM engineer, like, full stack generative AI engineer. Prompt engineering just a part of the generative AI. So as I mentioned, generative AI is nothing without the prompt engineering. In simple words, as because everybody is working with the chat GPT, right? So whatever the queries I'm raising, what is Python? In case if I'm asking this query, this is nothing but a prompt, right? So this kind of things anyone can answer. Whoever is working with the chat GPT, everyone can raise the queries to the large language model. But how effectively the end user is raising a query to the model so that we are getting the desired outcome. Let's say, for example, in my mind, I am having something that I need the definition of the Python, but I don't want this much of description. I just need important points in only the two lines or only in two sentences, or let's say, for example, two bullet points. In that situation, rather than asking a query like this, you can ask, what is Python? I want answer in two bullet points. And I don't want the generic answer. I want answer in full technical terms for data science. Let's say, for example, I am raising a query like this. So rather getting this entire answer, I must be getting the answer like this. So that's what exactly a prompt engineer duty comes into the picture. So if I would have go like this, I am wasted one prompt here, and also I wasted these many tokens. Token is nothing but a word here. Because of this query, I got the desired answer, whatever there in my mind. Let's say, for example, I want the answers to be only in the one word. For example, let's say generative AI is creativity, and data science is nothing but research. Let's say, for example, and EDA is nothing but exploration. Now, I'm just telling, understand these and I want the answers in same way for my future queries. If I'm telling this to the model, now what it will do is it will ask me like, okay, raise your queries. Now, what is the expectation? As because my client requirement is that for whatever the queries that I'm going to ask, the answer should be in the one word answer. Okay, I'm explicitly mentioning to the model, I want, I am going to ask some queries and I want answer only in one word. If I am telling this explicitly, and then I am going to ask Python, what is the expectation? One line answer. Now I am going to ask about the chat GPT assistant. So forget about it. Your client requirement is this, but you're not sure how to raise a queries. That's where you're coming in and asking what is Python. So it started generating this much of information. Now you're wondering, I need answer only in the one word. How can I get that? Again, you may raise question telling that, hey, can you please help me reduce the number of words? Like this, you will waste the number of input and output tokens. So if you can go and check OpenAI model pricing, here we supposed to pay, as because this UI is free of cost, we are using that chat GPT for free of cost. But in general, this is the amount that you will have to pay in case if you want to make use of the API key for the OpenAI. Companies will have to invest this much of money for the input token, whatever we are asking. What is Python? It is having total 3 different words. Likewise, you can go and check for 1 million words, you will have to pay $5. Now you can imagine. And for the whatever the output is generating, you will have to pay this much. Likewise, so companies has to invest. Without investing money, companies will not get the revenue. But they are looking for the candidates who can reduce the number of tokens in order to get the desired outputs. That is where the role of the prompt engineering comes into the picture. But along with the full stack development information, whatever I have explained about the large language model, along with the along with the prompt engineering, if you are having the skills of the large language model, that is going to be the top notch skill, I can tell you. Having only prompt engineering skills might not suffice to get the good, package into the Indian market, especially. Okay.
And
I
my
hope,
last one, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I
Sorry.
hope you are clear with the prompt engineering thing, right? So what exactly I'm explaining this here?
Yeah, yes, yes, yes.
Yes. Yeah,
Understood.
great.
And my last question would be, so
Mhm.
is this complete an online session or will it be an offline also? Because I stay from east part of Hyderabad, which is ECI. So I'm
It's
just looking
online
of
only,
it.
Janet. It's online only.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Complete online session, and you will, but more good thing is that you will be getting end to end industry level project. You can even keep that in your resume while you're going for the job search. You can provide your whatever the project that I'm going to give here, it is an industry standard project. It's not the random one. So it's proper industry level use case that you can add it to your resume also, end to end. Okay. Yep.
Thanks. Thanks for that.
Yep, thank you. Any more doubts from anyone? Okay, I have a couple of queries, I guess. So data structures are also needed. So Ramalakshmi, no. To be frank, no, I can say because of the chat GPT. So when you, I mean, before chat GPT, if you want to get into the AI designation, companies used to look for this data structures. But right at this moment, because everything is automated, it's only matter of how efficiently or effectively you are drawing the solutions from the large language models is matters a lot. Having the data structures knowledge is really very good, but I am not telling that it is 100% mandatory. Okay. Irfan, so which language we are using in a model? It's a Python only because it is a universal language. Every company is also looking for the Python only, rather going with the R. What databases we use at the backend? So Pavan, here we are not going to use the traditional databases because storing the data into the numerical format, actually this this thing, whatever we are using, the large language models are dealing with the multimodality feature. When I say multimodality features, right now we have seen the textual information, right? So going forward, we are going to deal with the images also. So in order to store the images information and all, the normal traditional databases will not work. So we are going to make use of the vector databases, Pawan. Okay, vector databases. I am going to teach vector databases that is specially designed for this what to say, generative AI solutions. All right. Any more doubts, guys?
Uh, Hi, Madhu. So, sometime back, you were saying that prompt engineering is a part of generative AI, right?
Right. Yep.
So, if I say that to become a prompt engineer,
Hmm.
you would need a solid understanding of Python. So, do you agree with that?
No. So for prompt engineering, you no need to have any kind of programming language. That's what I'm telling. Prompt
Mhm.
engineering is nothing but raising a queries to the large language model to get the desired response. You don't need to be a programmer also, to be frank, I can tell you. But that's what I'm telling, especially in India, if you are working for the IT industry without having the the full understanding of the generative AI skills, they cannot hire you only based on the skills of the the prompt engineering techniques. Maybe in the US, the people are hiring especially only focusing on the prompt engineering skills and all, but in India it won't work because the companies are looking forward for the candidates, those who all are good at prompt engineering, to get the desired outcomes along with the working model. When I say working model, it should be building the generative AI application, nothing but a large language model.
So, but uh, what I feel is like a prompt engineer should have some understanding of a programming language, right? Because
Uh,
unless and until you don't have an idea about any programming language, uh,
mhm.
how can you create prompts or
Okay,
get
so let me tell you.
relevant responses from the AI models?
Okay, so let me tell you here. This is my ChatGPT window.
All
I
right.
am really I just have the understanding of the Java, but I don't know how it is really going to work. Okay. So I was
Mm-hmm.
a full stack developer with the .NET, but I'm really not into the Java. That is not my cup of tea. Okay. But I know how to make use of the large language model. Means I'm expert in prompt, I can say for sure. Okay. So let me tell you, my requirement is that client is asking me to build a Java programming language, which is a multiplication of the two complex numbers. That's what my requirement here. Let's say, for example, I know how can I make use of the large language model. So see here, I'm asking, can you please help me creating Java programming language for multiplication of two complex numbers? And as a good prompt engineering and engineer, what I'm telling is that please keep in mind answer should be optimized, error free, easy to understand. I'm just giving these instructions as a good prompt engineer. Now, let's say I really don't know what is how the Java will work for this. So, is it not giving me the answer? At the end, I think by providing the extra conditions, I may giving more good accurate results when compared to the others. I may feel that maybe it is not 100%, but now you can see. Now I want to modify this code along with the above code.
Mm-hmm.
I want to add one more functionality of multiplication of three complex numbers. Let's say, means this is the additional requirement for me. After working with this particular thing, my client asked me to do this also. Now I am providing this. I don't have any kind of knowledge, but don't you think if I can copy this code and also if I can execute it is going to work?
Yes.
That's what I'm telling. Prompt engineer is all about understanding of the working procedure of the large language models, but not about the programming skills. But as I mentioned, in India, especially if you are getting into the IT industry, there is no point in having only a
So
prompt engineering.
why are people asking for Python for a prompt engineer?
That's what I'm telling. In India, it's not only about having the understanding of this queries, how you are raising the queries. Along with that, in India, companies are also looking for the program because you are going to build the application, right? So whatever I have shown you, so you are going to build this application. So without building the application, how can you raise the query to the large language model? This is what you're building. You're building it on top of the Python. Without having the Python, you're not going to build this entire generative AI application. If you're not
Yeah,
having this application, what you will raise, to where you will raise the queries? That's where companies are asking for the programming language.
I understand what you're trying to say. I am with you.
Hmm.
What I feel is basic role of a prompt engineer is to create prompt, no
That's
matter
it.
he understands
Actually,
any programming language, because
R-
the chat GPT or the AI that will create the answers for him, right?
right, right.
So we should not be bothered about any programming language. That's what you
In
mean to.
fact, in fact, but that will, again, I'm telling, addition, that will not work out in India. For sure it is not going to work out in India because
Yeah.
companies will never take the candidates who is good at only prompt engineering. For sure, they will be expecting the candidates to be a full stack generative AI. At least the Python programming is mandate because they are
Mhm.
expecting you to work on building of this particular things. Actually, that's where the
Yeah,
problem is all
I
about.
understand people in India, they make you do multiple things,
Right?
multitasking. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even in my previous company, I was doing multiple roles: a BA, a project manager, a scrum master, blah blah blah. So I understand. All right. Thanks for your answer, Madhu.
Yeah,
Thank
no worries. And yeah, I understand you worked with multiple roles. Maybe addition of this generative AI will impact a lot even to the current role also. Are you a Scrum Master now?
you. Of late, I got in the shoes of a business analyst.
Okay, okay, great. So whatever the skills, as I mentioned, it's not restricted to one single field with this data science. That's
Yes.
what the thing is, that whether you are a Scrum Master, even in my company, the Scrum Master is now working with the generative AI skills to understand at least. So as a Scrum Master, it's his duty to understand when somebody is coming and telling that he is working with the prompt engineering. At least he should be capable enough to understand what kind of prompt engineering techniques that you are using, and when he's telling I'm working with the large language model. So such kind of work is there for every industry with this generative AI.
I got it.
Yep.
Right.
All right. Okay, so Srinivas, you can use Chroma files for the vector database. You can use any of these things. Anyways, in our upcoming sessions, whatever I'm going to provide, I will be providing all the open source vector databases only. We are not going to invest money for that. There is no point in me investing money at this moment. Okay, so I'm going to teach you all these things. No, so Venkat, as I mentioned, for prompt engineering alone, all these things are really not required, Venkat, actually. But as I mentioned, in India, companies will not take you only if you're having only prompt engineering skills. It's about generative AI altogether. I think we have sufficient knowledge in program. At least we know what what to copy and where to paste. Yes, Shrikant, that is mandatory. So anything covering to build our own LLM? Yes, I will be covering, Srinivas. Okay, all right. So any more queries, guys? So Venkat, I think I provided the answer for your query. I'm still stuck at your query. I was explaining the same thing, right? So this is what the Python programming or whatever it is. Yes, all right. Okay, so if no doubts, we'll wind up the session. Thank you so much, guys,